Welcome back.
Okay, what's up?
Okay, I don't know what that intro was. Anyway.
Let's start over.
No, that's good. Let's go.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Hello. Let's go.
Okay, so today...
We're talking about E3 again.
Square Enix.
Square Enix press conference at E3. They had a lot of really cool, interesting games.
You want to read most of this article?
I can read.
Because I read a lot of the...
Like and subscribe. So we found this, found an article called, it's on a website called Tom's Guide.
Which actually, I haven't heard of it before.
But I like the way they present
but they
this
went
article.
in detail through everything.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what all we're gonna go into, at least the big ones.
And this is by Marshall Oneroff.
Marshall Oneroff.
You're going to see it, I just want to mention it.
So I guess we'll start at the Final Fantasy VII Remake part. You don't really know when to watch it because it's already over with now. So.
And just to, I don't want to say I was going to let you read it, but just to give an overview.
Go ahead.
I mean, there was tons of stuff that they were unveiled.
Yep.
Everything from the Avengers to like indies. You got the remaster like Final Fantasy VII.
Handheld games.
A bunch of people are making fun of that, but it's
a big part of gaming now.
Well, it's a gaming convention. Yeah, it is, and they'd be stupid not to tap into it. But it's a gaming convention, and some people may not think mobile games are worth anything, but you can't ignore the market.
No, it's just they're popular now. I play mobile games.
So, well, everybody does.
So, so they kick things off with the look at the Final Fantasy VII Remake, which a lot of people have been waiting on. This time around, battles take place in a hybrid, real-time, turn-based system. The original was sort of real-time, but not really. When I say real-time, the bars that would move up to pick your attack or whatever. Like in some Final Fantasy games, it'll pause and let you do what you want to do, and the enemy won't do anything. But if you just sat there in Final Fantasy VII in the original one, the enemy could keep attacking because their bar would just keep going up and up.
Mm-hmm.
So in a sense, it was a real time, but it was still turn-based, more turn-based than this. We showed that video before, and you were running around the battlefield and moving around and things.
This is like an action-adventure RPG.
Yeah. It's a lot like Final Fantasy 15. That's what the combat reminded me of.
And the graphics look really good.
Really good graphically, which... even the older Final Fantasy games, when they did their cutscenes, the graphics were always really good. You can employ standard attacks as often as you like, but an active time battle bar dictates how often you can use items, spells, and special skills. Okay, so you can keep attacking over and over as much as you want, but the bar determines everything else you do, which is pretty cool. To demonstrate how the system worked, the development team showed off the very first boss fight in Final Fantasy VII, the Scorpion robot that guards the Mako reactor, which was the first boss fight in the original. Players will be able to switch characters on the fly, moving from Cloud to Barret and back again, taking advantage of each one's special skills. So yet again, if you played Final Fantasy 15, that's exactly how the combat was in that. That's exactly how it was.
And most of the Final Fantasies are like that, aren't they? You have your team. Well, you have your team.
You have your squad there,
and you pick. Well, it's turn-based.
It depends on the Final Fantasy game too.
This isn't turn-based.
This is more in tandem with the later Final Fantasy games, like I said, like 15 and 13, which were more. They were still turn-based, but they were more action-y type stuff, and you could move around, things like that.
That's right. You could run through the city instead.
Tetsuya Nomura, the director of the original Final Fantasy VII, showed up as well in order to share a few thoughts on the game. He revealed that the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo will be playable at the Square Enix booth. So the demo was playable there, which is really cool. A lot of times they'll do that. So that was really it for Final Fantasy VII. They haven't...
No.
I mean, obviously, it's a remake, so the story and stuff isn't really going to change all that much.
No,
Same characters.
Sorry, I saw some people doing some stories on this, and I don't know the details of it, so take this with a grain of salt. It's just hearsay right now that I hear people talking about.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they are bigger YouTubers, but I would take note of this. It seems like a lot of the episodes, the game is so large that it seems like they're releasing multiple chapters on different.
Yeah, I remember you had told me that yesterday.
On different discs, and nobody knows how long.
I hope they don't do that.
I think the first chapter, somebody said, again, this could be wrong, but I think the first chapter is on the first disc. maybe it takes 2 discs. It's a big game.
It's going to be a big game.
And it's
the original was
well, they made it so detailed
several discs.
that it's about. It's like you're running through the city, and I'm wondering if that's the case, if it would not have just been a better idea to make this game like Warframe.
Yeah.
And just give you a giant tile set and have you pick different sectors on the map and go through with multiple characters.
It's hard to say.
And I know Tifa is supposed to be DLC.
As long as they're not making you pay for each chapter, I don't think I have a problem. Well, I know, but you'd assume they'd give you the whole game. Square Enix isn't known for doing things like that. But then again, you never know.
Now, that's
just what you've heard too. You don't.
That's
really
what
know
I've heard.
that.
And even if that is true, if the game is so large,
maybe it'll just require multiple discs when you buy it. That could be the case.
But if the game is so large to where that many chapters are going to be, and it's so big like that,
yeah.
maybe people wouldn't have a problem with it if it lasts you a long time.
Yeah.
I know I saw Sephiroth.
Yeah, Sephiroth was shown at the very end of the trailer we watched.
Was that Aerith?
Aerith was in it. Yeah.
Okay.
Cloud, Barrett.
Yeah.
I always liked Barrett.
And Tifa is supposed to be DLC,
Which that kind of makes me upset because Tifa was a cool character. Anyway.
But do you want to... Some of the... Now, the next...
There's not a lot of stuff about Life is Strange 2, but I know it was a pretty popular little adventure game. All they said was they were just going to be releasing new episodes.
Kind of like the Crystal... Which kind of, for that game, is big news. Kind of like the Telltale series.
Yeah.
When you know there's new episodes coming out, the game is about the story.
Yep.
So when you hear new episodes are coming out, it's a big deal for the
I've
game.
always wanted to try it. Never got a chance to try it yet. Now, Crystal Chronicles is one of their mobile games.
Yes.
It's been around for a little bit. It's going to receive a smartphone port, all the multiplayer capacities, so that's basically all they said about that little stuff. Octopath Traveler. Now, this one I've never heard of. Square Enix's well-received throwback to classic SNES RPGs. Okay, that's cool, so it's a throwback.
Now, I don't know too much about this game.
It was on the Switch, and now it's going to PC. They're just porting it to the PC. Is all this is talking about. All right, so there was a cut there. Camera died.
Camera died. It was on 3 bars. That was my mistake.
Octopath Traveler was the last game we talked about. We're going to move on to the next game.
The last one.
Which is a big one for me. I really loved this game when it first came out on the PlayStation 2.
And I played it a little bit.
PlayStation 2, I think. Was it 2 or was it 3?
It looked like a PlayStation 2 game because it had to be PlayStation 2 because remember I bought the
Xbox.
Yeah, I bought the Xbox
Yes.
version and it was at Hastings and it was in a messed up case.
No, it was on the 360.
And I gave you...
It was on the 360, that's right.
You sure?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember this game on the 360 now. Because that's where I first played it. Because that's the only Xbox I've ever owned was the 360. But this is a really cool RPG game. Really good story. It's a remastered version, so obviously they're just taking the old one and remastering it. It's a cool little squad-based. Instead of having individual people on your squad, you have little squads in your squad, so it's like a little army.
It's
almost.
similar to... It's like a Final Fantasy.
It's like a
style.
Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
And you go to different taverns and recruit different squads, different leaders of the squads.
Which
It's
is really cool.
fun. I would check it out if you get a chance, even on the old systems.
Is there permadeath in it?
I don't think so, but when a squad dies, it gets weakened because there's not as many people in it. I can't remember if there's permadeath or not. There might be. I think the squads you recruit can be permadeathed, but the main
original
characters can't.
Okay, so
So the squad would be gone. You'd have to recruit more people for that person's squad. That makes sense.
Now, Circuit Superstars, that just looks like an indie racing game.
Yeah, it's a top-down racing game, which is, from what I've seen, there's not a lot of top-down racing games.
Okay, it's like a circuit. It's just like a circuit.
Like a circuit game, yeah.
Like a little, the old little racing games that we had, where you put them on the track and and they just went around.
It's an old-school graphic style. It says in there. So I mean, it's something cool you can just kind of play. Yeah,
it's kind of cool. The game will be out soon. New generation of racing fans, the top-down arcade. Yeah, that's kind of cool. What was that one that was real old that was on the Nintendo?
Oh my gosh!
Was it Matchbox?
I can't even remember now.
I think it was Matchbox, where you had the racing cars and they would go around like a circuit.
I can't even remember.
Battalion 1944. That's just a multiplayer game.
Yeah, it sounds like a battle royale game to me.
No, it's not a battle.
Well, not everybody against everybody, but it's a multiplayer online game. That's what I meant.
It's like a team deathmatch.
Yeah,
it's a competitive shooter. I saw Shroud and Dr. Disrespect playing it.
It's another. Is it like a retro? Because in here it says it's like a fast-paced retro action game.
The style is retro. The graphics aren't necessarily retro. They're just See, I don't want to disrespect the game.
Well, that's not necessarily a disrespect.
It's just, it's a competitive shooter. It's not up there by any means graphically with things like Call of Duty.
But it's a World War II shooter, which to me would be fun.
You're on a small little map. It's like an older style Call of Duty team deathmatch style.
Yeah.
And you go around. What's the name of it? Counter-Strike. If you like Counter-Strike, you'll like this game.
Okay.
So if you like Counter-Strike, I would pick this up. Now, sometimes the spawning can be terrible.
Yeah.
People will get the spawns down, and immediately, and I mean immediately, when you spawn in, you'll die. You'll spawn. It's basically like a spawn death.
Something needs to be fixed.
You'll be spawned, and you're already dead.
It's crazy.
Upon spawning, it's ridiculous. But that's a thing that's not game breaking. I feel like that can be patched with new spawns.
Yeah.
So, but if you like competitive shooters, especially like the old Counter-Strike, this would be fun for you.
The next thing, something Square Enix is known for, is their music. Their music's really good. You can stream their music now, which is cool. I listen to a lot of Square Enix video game music. I love their music. They have really good composers. They have a lot of soft stuff, a lot of epic style stuff, video game soundtracks. So it's on Spotify, things like that. So if you're into that, check that out.
Kind of like orchestra style hums.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, there's an orchestra going around playing music from Square Enix games, and they're going to be in Oklahoma City, which I thought was kind of cool. But the one after this is a game I've been playing, a game that I enjoy a lot. I've enjoyed the entire series, Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. It's a DLC pack. It's going to focus on members of Organization 13, which is a group in the game, fleshing out some of their backstories. Kingdom Hearts, they've had a lot of handheld games, they've had a lot of spin-off type stuff. The story's a little convoluted. If you follow the 3 main games, it's not convoluted, it's pretty easy to follow. But there's so many side games, and you have to know how some of those work.
Mm-hmm.
That it's hard to follow the story sometimes. I also know they're going to be adding in a couple little cosmetic stuff and things like that in this. But it's to flesh out their backstories. So those are some of the villains in the game. Final Fantasy XIV, which is an MMO. I've never played Final Fantasy XIV. I don't play a lot of MMOs, but this is, I guess, their next, is it like a big expansion? Yeah, their second major expansion. So it's basically going to introduce enough new content to count as a brand new game, which is really cool. There's 2 new job types, 2 new playable races. They acknowledge that fan interest might take a temporary dip in March 2020 when the Final Fantasy XIV Remake comes out. So they are doing I wonder if it's like it says remake, but I wonder if it's going to be more like a remaster.
See, I don't know too much about it. You're talking about Shadowbringers?
Yeah.
I don't know too much. See, you played Final Fantasy way more than I did, and I have no idea.
It's an MMO. This is their MMO. Final Fantasy, I think they had 11 was an MMO, and then 14 was an MMO. And I've never played the Final Fantasy MMOs. I know they're super in depth. They're a lot like World of Warcraft.
What was the previous one that you had just gotten that was...
Final Fantasy 15?
That was like... It was the style of an MMO, kind of. You didn't get to play. I don't think you got to play with people online.
Final Fantasy 15.
Warframe.
Yeah, you run around the environment and everything. Yeah. Which was completely different for them. They'd never had a game where it was fully open world.
And it's like they were building upon that with a remake. The Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, it's the same style where you're running around open world type stuff. Yep. Dying Light 2, which I didn't even realize Square Enix was a part of.
I didn't even know.
I've heard some really cool stuff about Dying Light 2. I'm kind of interested in playing. I didn't play the first one.
Platforming abilities, usual to explore.
Yeah, and it's the one where you do the
parkour.
Yeah, the parkour. Now the cool thing about this one is they've been talking about the in-game choices and how that's going to affect the ending, and there's like thousands, they said, of choices that's going to affect the game.
It just seems like they're building upon the first one, and they're just expanding even more. So that's some good news. Saga games.
There's some old school RPGs. Romancing Saga 3 and Saga Scarlet Gate. I don't know a lot about these.
2 English titles. So these are like Japanese.
Basically, they're Japanese RPGs that are going to be coming to America. That's basically what this is saying. I never played the Romancing Saga games. I've heard of them, but they're just RPGs that are Japanese that are going to be ported here. Let's see what's next.
That's Final Fantasy.
Brave Exvius, which is another mobile game. They do a lot of stuff with Final Fantasy. It's their big thing. Let's see. Soon the world will expand in more of the visions. The game will take the Brave Exvius framework and expand it with a whole new story set on the content of Adora. This one's still early in development, so it's going to be a while before it comes out. I've played Brave Exvius. It's all right. It's a good mobile game, especially if you like Final Fantasy. There's a lot of references to their characters and stuff in it.
Outriders.
Outriders.
I guess it comes from the team of Gears of War.
Yeah.
Judgment, Bulletstorm. Gears of War, Judgment, and Bulletstorm. They're hard work. They're doing a lot of work on the game. It's a story-driven shooter, so again, kind of like Bulletstorm, I would think.
Or Halo. I mean, Halo does have online, but the story is still good.
Now, I liked, of course, Halo was first person, and this is, I get what you're saying, but see, I don't know too much about this game either. Bulletstorm, you remember we used to play that a long time ago.
Yeah.
We played a little bit of it.
A little bit.
I wasn't a big fan. I'm always a big fan of Gears of War games.
Yeah. If you read this, it says it's a team of futuristic warriors that they'll fight monsters. They describe the world as dark and unforgiving with blasted landscapes. So I'm assuming it's going to be similar to Doom. This is going to be like their Doom.
So like a Gears of War Doom.
Like a Gears of War Doom is what it's going to be like.
So like an over-the-shoulder Doom.
Yeah.
Which, I'd like to see more about the game.
Yeah, it sounds kind of interesting. Onanaki, it's a new RPG set in the fantasy world of Watchers, which I don't really know what that is.
No.
Who ensure that a never-ending cycle of reincarnation continues unimpeded. Okay. The game will feature real-time combat as well as attacks where party members team up to deal damage with devastating combinations. So the combat's going to be a lot like Kingdom Hearts.
So it's just another RPG. I don't know anything about this game.
Combat. I don't either. There's not even a lot about it.
No, I'm not going to go anymore.
If you know anything about Watchers, I'm assuming it talks about it like it's another franchise or something like that. So if you know anything about that, you'll know.
There's the remastered.
There's the Final Fantasy VIII remastered version, which Final Fantasy VIII is one of those games where people either really like it or hate it.
Yeah, I've heard that, and I don't.
But a lot of the fans, devoted fans, have been wanting a re-release, so they're going to do that. It's going to just be an improve. I can't think of the word. It's going to improve the graphics of the original.
Well, that's more than I can say for the some other game companies that don't even seem to care about their fans.
True. So it's obvious it's going to be the same. It's just like the Final Fantasy VII. Now, I don't think it's going to be as grand as Final Fantasy VII is going to be, but they're going to redo the graphics, make it look really nice, and they're going to re-release it, which the fans of the game are going to be excited. And then finally,
I'm really excited about
the big one that they talked about.
And if you're a PlayStation owner, you can be a little bit more excited than other people.
Yeah.
Which normally I don't like when they do things like this. I'll just go ahead and get this out of the way. The PS4 is getting more, it seems like, exclusive content to the Marvel Avengers than other systems. Now,
depending on what the content is, if it's like skins or things like that, it won't bother me as much. Deal. But if it's characters
or a new level,
even though I own a PS4, it's still going to bother me. It's not right to do like that in terms of that much. But this is from Crystal Dynamics is making it with Square Enix. They're the ones that rebooted Tomb Raider, which you really like the Tomb Raider reboots, right?
Yes.
Comes Marvel's The Avengers. It's an adventure game, obviously. It's an original story. Iron Man, Captain America, The Incredible Hulk, and Black Widow, and other heroes
are to be introduced over time. For free.
Respond to a distress call in San Francisco, only to find that they've been set up. The Avengers must now reclaim their good name while doing battle with a number of iconic villains. So it sounds a lot like, what's the Marvel game?
Avengers Alliance.
Alliance, yeah, Avengers Alliance.
And as you know, Nintendo Switch is getting that.
Yes.
The rest of the systems aren't, so I wonder if this is kind of like making up for that.
Could be.
This kind of seems like it's going off of Civil War.
Yeah. Okay, see, I never even watched the... I need to watch the trailer. Did you watch the trailer?
No, what you described, it sounds like it's going...
True.
Because remember there was a gap there, and we didn't necessarily see what happened to his team members.
True, it sounds
in between that time.
Yep.
So, this is how I'm thinking about it. I don't know if this is true, but it seems like after Captain America broke his team out, maybe this is what they're going through. Of course, he is fighting with Iron Man, so maybe not.
It's hard to say. Who knows what they're going to do. It's an original story. It's going to feature ongoing new episodes, all for free.
Yeah.
Delivered periodically. That's a big thing. That's really cool.
So is this like MMO style? Or is it just...
It doesn't say.
No, that wouldn't make sense with just 5 characters.
It's an action game, I think.
Yeah, that wouldn't make sense with just 5. Now the graphics right here, I think they look good. Some people have a problem with it. I don't know why. I don't think they're terrible. I like it.
It's not going to have any loot boxes. No pay-to-win stuff. New heroes may be introduced over time, and players will be able to team up online in groups of up to 4.
Now, which is cool. Now, are they going to have skins? Who knows?
It's hard to say.
Does it say no microtransactions, or does it just say no loot boxes?
It says no. It will not have any loot boxes or pay-to-win mechanics, is what it says.
Okay, so it still might have microtransactions.
Yeah,
it
it's
still
possible.
might have.
Yeah.
And I would assume so with the skins. You know, Captain America has different skins.
Especially considering they're releasing all of the episodes for free.
Yes.
That doesn't bother me.
They have to make a little bit of money
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
And if they're going to introduce new content and things like that to help you out, or to introduce new things.
The 5 Avengers, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, and Iron Man are the ones you're going to be able
No
to
Hawkeye.
play as in the beginning.
I don't know, Hawkeye's not in there.
It's kind of odd that they made it an odd number. You assume they would have put Hawkeye and made it even.
You would think they would have put 8, because you can play with 4 people at a time.
Yeah. But those are the 4 you're going to be able to play with. So this one I know a lot of people were looking forward to. It seems really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing more about it.
Did it get, yeah, May 15th, 2020. So
Yeah.
there's going to be more. It seems like there's a lot of promising games coming out.
It does. There's a lot of good stuff in E3 this year.
At the beginning of next summer.
Yeah.
So about a year from now, you're going to have Cyberpunk, you're going to have Marvel Avengers, the Ghost Recon game's going to be out.
Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm trying to think of what else got shown.
Doom looks to be out, but I would think.
I'm not sure about The Last of Us 2. I'm not sure if they have a release date for that yet. No,
No,
they
so-
do have a release date for that, but I can't remember what it
Now,
was.
some of the games we just mentioned, I don't think have a set release date, but I would think they would be out. Usually
Most likely.
Yes, usually when you showcase things and you hype things up at E3, they come out a year later.
Yep.
So that's it for our take on the games coming out for Square Enix. A lot of stuff.
You know, tomorrow, I'm not 100% sure what our video is going to be tomorrow. Because I'm kind of trying to work on a Warframe gameplay thing, but if I don't get that done, we'll have to have something
Just something about E3.
E3 to talk about. So, I'm not 100% sure about tomorrow what it's going to be, but we'll figure it out.
But anyway, guys, if you like this, what we discussed, make sure to leave us a like, subscribe to our content. Leave us a comment letting us know, again, as always, what you'd like to see.
Yep.
And what we can improve on. Hit that, my mind went blank. Hit that notification bell so you're always informed.
Yep.
And this video is sponsored by absolutely nobody. And thank you for
I didn't
watching.
expect you to say that.
Thank you for watching. We'll
Have
see
a
you in the
good
next
day.
video.